Hi guys, it's Mark Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Mark Zicree of Space Command, also known as Mark Zicree of Star Trek, Twilight Zone Companion, Smurfs, He-Man, Real Ghostbusters, on and on and on. All the wacky stuff I've done. And every now and then I come upon a credit of something I did that I don't remember I did, so that's usually pretty interesting. So today, we're going to talk about a movie that just debuted called Annihilation. And that is directed and written by Alex Garland, who did Ex Machina, science fiction movie starring Natalie Portman, who many of you know as Queen Amidala in Star Wars, and Oscar Isaac, who's in the new Star Wars films, and Jennifer Jason Leigh of The Hateful Eight and many other things. And let's talk about this movie because it fits into a genre of science fiction weirdness, alien invasion, but very metaphysical, very kind of like, what is it? What's it doing? Why is it here? All of that. And it's not a bad film. It's an entertaining film. It's not one of the classics, but certainly heartfelt, certainly interesting. It's not a turkey like the recent Cloverfield movie was, in my opinion. It's a good try, and it also has a primarily female lead cast, which is fun to watch, and I applaud that as just again an effort to do something different and something distinctive. And Natalie Portman does a good job. And so basically, the gag is an alien what's it crash lands or crashes into a lighthouse and starts spreading a field where DNA is scrambled and it's just changing stuff up. And soldiers are sent in and they disappear. And Natalie Portman goes in to try to save her husband, essentially. And she's ex-military and she's, a scientist and so on and so forth. And so basically, the main thing with this film is that you can sort of see its DNA in a lot of other films, and so I would urge you to check out the films that it's reminiscent of. Certainly, the greatest metaphysical science fiction film of all time is 2001: A Space Odyssey. If you haven't seen that, please see it. This is the first British paperback edition of 2001. It is, for those who weren't alive when that film was made, it came out in '68. I was a kid, and I saw it, and it was a revolution. My brother Steve, who's younger than me, saw it recently with his wife and said, well, he didn't like it and it was so slow and it didn't make sense and what the hell was it? And it just wasn't a very good movie. He was missing the point, of course. And it was, first of all, for those of us who grew up in the space age, it was a postcard of what we thought the future would be. We thought we were going to get that future. Moreover, it's an amazing exploration of the danger of artificial intelligence and also the possible motives and aims of extraterrestrial intelligence, and it's just a great film, and its pacing is very deliberate, very different. Kubrick had that in mind specifically. The design of it is terrific. The actors are great, and it's just a wonderful film. You have to take it at its own speed and its own intent. It's just like Citizen Kane is unlike any other film. 2001 is one of those two where you just have to say, okay, this is a genius at work. Many geniuses. Arthur C. Clarke was equally talented along with Kubrick, and you just say, let's take me by the hand and lead me where you're going to take me. And if you do that, it's a phenomenal film. It was a revolution when it was made. You wouldn't have Star Wars or Blade Runner or any of those films, Alien, without 2001 blazing the trail. And so there you go. But so clearly, its fingerprints are on Annihilation. More directly, though, it owes a debt to two films by Russian director Andrei Tarkovsky. One is Solaris. It was the Russian version of Solaris came first. There was an American version with George Clooney that I'm not very fond of, but I love the Russian version. It's based on a novel by Stanislaw Lem. It's got a very strange, dreamy kind of feeling. That Annihilation is in the same genre, same ballpark as. Additionally, there's another film by Tarkovsky that I'm not as much of a fan of called Stalker that has a similar idea of aliens make a pit stop on Earth, leave some alien artifacts. It creates a zone where weird stuff happens. The film by Tarkovsky is called Stalker. It's based on a novel by the Strugatsky brothers, who were Eastern Bloc writers. They were Russian writers, and it was published in America under the title Roadside Picnic. I was actually approached at one point to do a film adaptation of that book, and worked up a pitch on that way back, a long time ago. I don't even know if Tarkovsky had made his film version at that point. I don't think so. But that was back in the midst of time. So I read the novel and actually came up with a take on it, and it didn't get made, so that's fine with me. But Annihilation has some creatures. They're very fun. There's a very creepy bear kind of creature that was an animatronic rather than a CG. And again, I think the more they have practical effects, the better. There's melted people and weird ass stuff, and a crocodile that attacks them, and all sorts of fun stuff. And it's got a creepy feeling. And so for anyone who's into science fiction and wants to sort of see a sort of a creepy-ish, and Alien, of course, is the other film that's highly influential on this film. It does not have the genius at its core that Alien did. I mean, there's no substitute for what H.R. Giger did in Alien. That was unlike anything that had ever been seen in film before. And what Dan O'Bannon and Ron Shusett came up with in terms of the plot for Alien, essentially taking what creatures in nature do, laying eggs in other animals, and then the eggs burst forth, and putting that into a creature, a monster that does that to humans, was a brilliant idea. Just a brilliant, creepy, astonishingly upsetting idea when that movie came out in '79. There'd been nothing like it before, and I remember seeing that film when it came out and just being, deeply, deeply upset by it and scared by it, but loving it too. And so Annihilation, I think, again, if you're looking for something diverting, something fun, something interesting, it's fine. It's a good science fiction movie, a good attempt. Ex Machina was another film that Alex Garland did that was a good science fiction film. Not one of my favorites, but that's just me. But certainly you can respect it, and you can respect the artistry behind it, and I think that's true of this film as well. So that's about it for now. You feel free to post and comment on these videos, and if you don't subscribe to Mr. Sci-Fi, do so, because I'm posting about once a week, and I'll be talking soon about Space Command and some other things, and Star Trek, and you name it, anything that interests me, and I'm sure interests you. So that's it for now. Have a great day and a great life, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.